thing. It's usually very simple, like love, connection, service, hope, safety. I mean, when
Mm.
people are motivated by for money or material things, it's usually safety. They just want to feel safe, and that's totally reasonable motivation. And so just when you look at the foundational essence of a motivation, I feel like I can't think of a case in which something is evil about it, unless a person's really just severely mentally ill.
Yeah, I would definitely say that there's always exceptions to the rule, right? The way that the universe manifests itself. But I think your point very much stands where we're actually probably causing a lot more inadvertently people to do things that are outside the realm of love and connection because they're not being, let's say, validated in the right ways, or they're not being reinforced for the good things. And so,
Right. We don't treat them like little plants that are growing in a garden and we're curious what they'll be. We treat them as if they're like on a farm and they all have to become stalks of wheat or something.
yeah, and because they know what wheat, they're like, well, we know how to grow wheat. We know what it tastes like. We know what we can make out of it. I don't know, like, what rutabaga is. I'm not about to try to start planting that. That's ridiculous. Like, people are not about to start adventuring because it's work. It's hard. And also, I mean, bless the Puritans' hearts, man. I mean, they were going through it. I mean, like, I'm glad I didn't grow up back then. Like, that's a tough
Well, yeah.
sell.
Truth be told, it it predates the Puritans. It wasn't the Puritans. It was the
Mm,
beginning of Christianity.
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
And it's not just Christianity that has this theme in it. Uh, there are other religions
sure.
that have this theme, and that is that the way of the flesh is bad. The flesh encompasses not just like sexual things, but just everything about the body
Mhm.
is inferior to the spirit. And so when you um, satisfy your body in however whatever way it is, by eating too much or, playing
Having sex or
basketball or
whatever. Yeah.
whatever,
Mm.
you are not getting closer to God.
Right. There's like a level. There's like
Yes. And
levels and God's up here and the body's here and the mind
yeah,
is
and so
here.
and so, there's Paul was who basically began Christianity. It was really Paul who kind of codified it, I guess, St. Paul. He was the one who said, don't worry, don't marry, be celibate, that's better. Uh, Christ is returning soon, yada yada yada. And it's more
Mm.
than just Christianity. I think this is
I mean, the
exists
Jews, I mean, I'm
in all
always,
sorts of Eastern religions as well. So it's a very
yeah,
common thread.
yeah. And I think I mean, I'm always spouting about Jewish wisdom, but Jews also started hatred of the body.
Oh, did
Mm.
they? Yeah.
But not started because, of course, it was present in Hinduism
Yes.
and Jainism,
Yeah.
and or although Jainism was later, but to my understanding, maybe I'm wrong.
But it's so
But
interesting.
sorry,
No, I'm just going to say that the Greek gods loved the body. They were all about the body. They were
Dionysus,
really
are you
into
kidding?
their body. Zeus was fathering all sorts of people with all sorts of other types of people.
And they were coming out of his head. He was actually like
Yeah,
a
yeah, but
woman with a.
somehow that became passé,
Mhm.
and then gods became spiritual, not of the body. I don't
But then the
know.
whole thing about
What
Christianity is Jesus is supposed to like be God according to Christians, right? Or at least Catholics, right? Jesus is supposed to be God. I think Christians in general,
all Christians
in
in
human
general,
flesh, right?
right?
So it's like re-sanctifying of the flesh. But then
Yes.
like the chances sort of miss because there's all this carryover.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Anyway, it just feels like there's this tension just goes on for thousands of
I
years.
think
But it,
Amir wants to step in here now.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I mean, well, one, it's a very masculine energy when it comes to the renunciation of the flesh.
yeah.
Um, it's
How do you
it's
mean that it's masculine? I mean, I'm intrigued, but I'm not sure I know
well,
how you
yeah,
mean that.
yeah. So you obviously have like the energetic polarity, and then you have genders, which is the whole thing, and then sex, which is more of a concrete manifestation of it, right? But when I mean masculine, I mean the energy. So feminine energy is more receptive, it's more unifying, it's a little bit less defined when I think of masculine and philosophically speaking, masculine is more of structures and borders and order and things aren't aligned and cleaning things and purifying things, making things neat. It's a very masculine energy. Feminine is nature. Tree can grow like that. I don't know if this is a fact, but there's kind of the thing. There's no right angles in nature. Everything's smooth and rounded. The earth is round, planets are round. Energy, there's, you know, container like water, containers of water, things where things are starting to blend and
Nice.
there's less
Yeah.
defined. It's the consuming, right?
Mhm.
The ego itself is kind of a masculine entity in that it is I am here in my seat and you guys are over there and we are separate. I'm me and you are you and we are different. And that maintains our sense of I. But then the feminine concept of unity and love starts to dissolve that. And so there can be this resistance, especially ironically enough, right? The more powerful the ego, the more it wants to sustain itself and the more power it has to sustain itself. And so it's going to resist any form of dissolution with other people.